Good morning, everyone. This is Malu Gonzalez in the system office. I see that we have our committee members present. So with that, I'll turn the call over to Chair Flores to begin the meeting.
Thank you, Malu. And good morning and welcome to the Telephonic Rules and Regulations Committee meeting for July 30, 2025. I am Regent Don Flores, chair of this committee. The time is 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Secretary of State as required by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code, Chapter 551. Please note that the audio of this meeting is being broadcast live. Before we take a roll call, I would like to remind everyone to please mute their phone unless you need to speak. Malu, let's begin the roll call with committee members and any other regions.
Thank you, Chair Flores. And I see you're present. Regent Lee.
Present.
Thank you. Regent Faskey.
Present.
Thank you. Regent Long.
Present.
Thank you. Regent Tinsley.
Present.
Thank you. Do we have any other regions on the call? Thank you. I'll move on to our system staff. Chancellor McCall.
Present.
Nelly Herrera. Here. Daniel Harper.
I'm here.
John Hayek.
Here.
Mike Winmute.
Here.
Sean Cunningham.
Here.
Sandy Paul. Here. Ashley Spicer Reynolds. Here. Johanna Sheffield. Here. Thank you. Moving to our institutions and starting with Lamar University.
Jaime Taylor here.
Jason Baldwin.
That's it for Lamar University.
Hector Flores here too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sam Houston.
Elisa White.
And Amanda Withers.
Thank you. Texas State.
Kelly Damphus.
Thank you. LIT.
Sid Valentine and Angela Hill.
Thank you. Lamar State College Orange.
Wendy Elmore and Patty Collins.
Thank you. And Lamar State College Port Arthur.
Tessie Bradford.
Thank you. And did I miss anyone?
Malu, this is Carlos Hernandez from Sonora State University.
Thank you, President Hernandez. That concludes roll call. I'll go ahead and turn it to you, Chair Flores.
Thank you, Malu. With that, I would like to note that Nelly Herrera briefed me on the agenda items prior to the meeting. At this time, I ask that Nelly present the Rules and Regulations Committee agenda items. Nelly.
Thank you, Chairman Flores. Today, we will be discussing 8 proposed amendments to our system rules. And the first proposed amendment can be found at Board Book page 542. If you are following along in a summary outline that we distributed, it's RR page 1. The amendment is Chapter 1, paragraphs 3, 4, and 11. The proposed amendment is prompted by the recent passage of Senate Bill 37, which was a comprehensive bill covering a number of items specific to institutions of higher education. The rule changes proposed by our Vice Chancellor for Academic and Health Affairs, Dr. John Hayek. Dr. Hayek, would you like to address this item?
Sure, thank you, Nelly. The stated language in the new system policy reflects the additional powers and responsibilities conferred upon the board by Senate Bill 37, particularly related to the review of the general education curriculum, the authority to approve and deny the hiring of certain high-level administrators, and the obligation to submit reports as required by state statute and responsibility to the newly formed Office of the Ombudsman with the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board.
Thank you. Regent Flores, if there are no questions about this first item, I'll move on to the second one.
Regents, do you have any questions regarding this item? Nelly, please proceed.
Thank you. So the second proposed amendment is found at Board Book page 544, outline page RR3. The amendment to Chapter 2, paragraph 3.1. It is also in response to Senate Bill 37. The rule change again is proposed by our Vice Chancellor for Academic and Health Affairs. I'll turn it over to you, John.
Great, thank you, Nelly. This minor change to our rules is related to the selection of presidential candidates. We, in practice, we already follow the suggested changes by the most recent statute change, which requires both at least a 21-day public notice, which we already do, as well as who, from a board perspective, participates on search committees if they're formed. The new statute requires at least 2 board members, with 1 being chair. Normally, we have at least 3 board members, and our committees are always chaired by a board member.
Thank you. Chair Flores, if there are questions on this one, otherwise I'll move on to the next.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Thank you. So the third proposed amendment, that's on page 545. It's on outline page RR4. The amendment is to chapter 3, paragraph 5. It's the amendment proposed again by our Vice Chancellor for Academic and Health Affairs. And John, would you like to speak to this item?
Sure. Thank you, Nellie. Again, these changes were requested and supported by the chief academic officers. And the proposed rule changes really are intended to streamline the approval of administrative and non-substantive academic and health affairs change requests. They also will help reduce unnecessary time delay in terms of changes requested in between board meetings, as well as provide the board greater opportunity for review and discussion of substantive changes as they are brought forward by the component institutions, as well as reflecting current statutes. These changes are consistent with other university systems in terms of how they review academic programs. They're also consistent with some new changes that have been made at the state level with the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. They will require a few new processes that we'll put in place from a system administration standpoint, but they should be very beneficial to the institutions and the board. From just a practical perspective, folks that have participated in various academic and health affairs committee meetings will note the long list of consent items that are reviewed, and this will really help reduce those numbers.
Thank you. Chair Flores, if there are any questions here for John, otherwise we can move on to the next item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Yes, sir. So the fourth proposed amendment, it's on board book page 549, outline page RR8. The amendment is to chapter 4, paragraph 2, and it relates to the establishment of mandatory fee rates for abbreviated terms. The amendment is proposed by Vice Chancellor and Chief Financial Officer Daniel Harper. Daniel, would you like to speak to this one?
Yes, ma'am. So the Board of Regents historically and traditionally has approved the fee rates for what we would consider a long semester, so generally 15 semester credit hours. And as our institutions have moved into kind of abbreviated semester terms, so whether it's an 8-week semester term, a Maymester, a wintermester, summer terms, this rule would delegate the authority to the president to set the rates for semester-based fees, so the transportation fee, the student center fee, for those abbreviated terms in proportion to the length of that term. And then the rule also requires that those be reported back if they're out of line with the proportion. And so it's kind of housekeeping to ensure that our rules stay up with the structure of our semesters.
Thank you. Chair Flores, if there are any questions for Daniel, otherwise we can move on to the next item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Thank you. So the next proposed amendment is on page board book 550, and it's an outline page RR9. The amendment is to chapter 4, paragraph 2. It is yet another amendment prompted by the recent passage of Senate Bill 37. And I will pass this on to Dr. Hayek for an explanation of the proposed change.
Thank you, Nellie. As Nellie mentioned, these are related to Senate Bill 37 in terms of additional changes made to our system rules. The updated language reflects the additional duties and responsibilities conferred upon component presidents, which include the reviewing of minor degrees and certificate programs at least once every 5 years, in addition to evaluating high-level administrators who oversee curriculum and student affairs on their campuses and reporting to the board the removal of said individuals I think it's on an annual basis.
Thank you, John. Chair Flores, if there are any questions about this, we can take them now. Otherwise, I can move on to the next item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Thank you. So the next proposed amendment is on page Board Book 551, outline page 10. The amendment is to Chapter 5. It's to paragraph 2. And this amendment clarifies the grievance process in our system rules. Specifically, it states that grievances may only be submitted to a component president or their designee. The amendment also clarifies that any decision made by the component president or their designee is a final decision. We want this clarified in our rule, and it's pretty much a straightforward amendment. And Chair Flores, I'm happy to take any questions on this one. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Yes, sir. So the next proposed amendment for consideration is at page Board Book 553, outline page RR 12. The amendment is to Chapter 5, paragraph 4. It relates to faculty council and faculty senates. And for this, I'll turn it over to our Vice Chancellor for Academic and Health Affairs, Dr. Hayek.
Thank you, Nellie. These changes also reflect changes coming forward based upon the passage of Senate Bill 37 this past legislative session and are fairly significant in terms of the changes that are required for faculty senates moving forward. The statute requires that current faculty senates are abolished as of September 1 of this year. Also states that only boards can establish new faculty senates moving forward. It reinforces also that faculty senates are advisory only and includes a number of prescriptive elements that are required for the establishment of faculty senates, which we have included in our policy to be clear to our institutions in that regard. Our institutions are planning to put forward processes this fall to make the appropriate changes to their various faculty senate charters and bylaws to be consistent with the new legislation, and most likely will be coming forward in the fall, later in the fall, with their new proposed charters and bylaws.
Thank you, John. Chair Flores, if there are any questions for this item, we're happy to take them now. Otherwise, we'll move on to the last item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding this item? Nellie, please proceed.
Thank you. So the last proposed amendment for consideration is at Board Book page 557, outline page RR 16. The amendment is Chapter 7, paragraph 3. The proposed amendment is to the system, speech, and assembly policy. The proposed revision is actually prompted by recent passage of a new law in Texas that redefines the status of our campus outdoor areas. And just by way of context, 4 years ago, the Texas legislature passed a law requiring public universities to designate their outdoor campus areas as traditional public forums, and we did that. During the most recent regular session of the Texas legislature, a new law was passed requiring public universities to now require their outdoor areas to be designated as limited public forums. So this is what this proposed amendment is doing. We are now changing those outdoor areas from traditional public forums to limited public forums. But our rule also is allowing our universities to designate certain areas on their campus as traditional public forums. And those traditional public forum areas will be subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions as currently found in the law. And I am happy to take any questions on this last item.
Regents, are there any questions regarding the last item? Thank you, Nellie. Regent Foskey, do you agree to keep all items on the consent agenda for consideration by the full board?
Yes.
Regent Lee, do you agree to keep all items on the consent agenda for the full board consideration?
Yes, sir.
Regent Long, do you agree to keep all items on the consent agenda for the consideration by the full board?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. As everyone has agreed to retain all items on the consent agenda, Regents Foskey, Regent Lee, Regent Long, I move that we recommend board approval of the proposed changes to the system rules on the consent agenda. Regent Foskey, do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Regent Lee, do you agree?
I agree.
Regent Long, do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Regent Foskey, Lee, and Regent Long for your responses. Considering these responses, the proposed changes to the system rules will remain on the consent agenda with the committee recommendations for approval. I would like to thank John and Daniel for your input today, and thank you, Chair Tinsley, for attending. As there are no further items for consideration, this concludes the business of the Rules and Regulations Committee and concludes today's telephonic meeting. Thanks to everybody for calling in and taking part. And for the record, the time is 11:16, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the board meeting in Alpine. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great day. Thank you.